guys, what's up? Welcome back to the channel. It's Cynicalex, and today we're going to be reviewing Iceman's new uniform and tier 3, which I'm actually really happy with. Now, this is stage 45 of Mephisto. You're going to see it up there in the top left-hand corner, and we're going to be going with the same rotation that I discussed in the video a couple days ago. The 3 cancel, 5 cancel, 4, and then we're just going to do a 2 cancel into 1. And then we're gonna do we do the 2 cancel 1 to build up our tier 3, because apparently just doing 3 5 4 doesn't work. Now, if you're paying attention, if you're eagle-eyed, I've actually already missed 2 procs, so that's kind of the first thing I want to discuss here. Iceman is not as proc friendly. I just wasted my tier 3. Nice. Iceman is not as proc friendly as I originally thought. He looked proc friendly in the limited testing that I was able to do, but also I'm distracted by my my flu, so I don't want to blame the flu, but I'm blaming the flu. So yeah, this is my Michael Jordan flu game. So yeah, there we go. We're done phase 1. So this is really, really impressive, especially when I tell you what the build is for Iceman. I know he's a paywall, like he's a crystal wall character, and I know that his uniform is full cost. But you really have to, I just missed another proc. You really have to appreciate how strong he is once I tell you what CTP I'm using. Now, he does have some survivability issues. This is stage 45, and Mephisto does a lot of damage, even though Iceman is a blast type. He's not a speed type, so he doesn't have any damage reduction. However, what I also want to do, so we're doing 2 things at the same time here. We're with 3 things. I'm showcasing how good Iceman is. I'm showcasing how, with my average gameplay, he is not that proc friendly, which makes a Judgment or a Rage CTP a lot more attractive. We're also showcasing his survivability, which can be a little questionable at times, even with his heal. We're showcasing his pretty impressive damage here. Oh my god, Storm is so slow. But on top of that, okay, the other thing I want you to notice is how much elemental buffs I'm getting, right? I want you to clock. Come on, Ancient One. Oh my goodness gracious. Yeah, see, I can't play to my regular quality with, sorry, I'm like sniffling into the mic. I want you to notice how much elemental buffs I have from Storm and Ancient One. It's a lot, right? I think it's 95%. That's a really high number. That's like half of a Judgment proc activated all the time. Like it's a really, really high number. I missed another tier 3 proc there. Cool. So despite my I missed another proc. Okay, cool. Poggers. Despite my gameplay, he's still crushing this, right? With 95% increase elemental damage buffs. Okay, but that's going to be more important. Oh, he also has stun immunity, which makes him amazing for Mephisto specifically, because he can't get stunned during this phase. So you're never going to get locked up by his slams, and you'll never die to that or lose a lot of time to that, which is excellent. Cull Obsidian Black Dwarf also has stun immunity, and it's just fantastic. I don't know if it's listed on Iceman's kit. Miss another tier 3 proc. By missing the proc, what I'm saying is that my damage buff, my increased damage for 1 skill, it activated before I pressed the tier 3 skill, so I wasn't able to pass it on to the tier 3 skill. There I landed it, and you can see the damage is quite impressive. So there we go, we're done. So he clears that with a minute 14. Going by the old adage and the old sort of common knowledge that you can go up about 1 stage for every 30 seconds, he could probably go up to stage 47. And that was with my subpar gameplay, right? I missed probably a dozen procs. So I'm pretty confident he could go all the way up to stage 49. This is insanely good when you consider 2 things. 1, before tier 4s, before Iron Man level 80, I didn't have any characters that could go up to 49. Even my Mephisto, with a mighty CTP of Judgment, could not climb to 49 by himself. Yeah. There's that. That's 1. 2, he's using an obelisk. Yeah. He's using an Ignore Dodge 200 proc Obelisk. This is insanely impressive. However, what I want to show you next is a little bit more interesting. So remember I said, notice how much elemental damage there is, right? There's 95% elemental damage between Ancient One's 40% buff and Storm's 55% buff. And generally, people will accept that Mephisto is a little bit harder than Null. So if I can do 45 of Mephisto with over a minute left, I should be able to get a decent time. Like, maybe not clear Null, but he should be very close to clearing stage 50 Null, right? Here's the difference here. We don't have any elemental buffs. We can't use Ancient One. We could use Storm, but we're going to either have to sacrifice Cyclops lead or we're going to have to sacrifice Mystique support. Now, I haven't actually tested it with Storm instead of Cyclops. This actually might be better, to be honest with you. Unfortunately, he doesn't have a cold resist leadership, which would synergize so well with his artifact if I had it. But for now, we're going to go in with Cyclops. And what I'm going to show you is that when you take away all the elemental buffs, it hurts Iceman so much that I now am needing to change his obelisk. So before, right, that Ignore Dodge 200 proc worked so well for Mephisto because Storm and Ancient One came in and fixed my elemental buffs, right? Fixed my, like not fixed, but like enhanced my cold damage, right? But now without them, Iceman seems a lot more. I just procced by accident. Okay. That's fine. We'll just set up our next proc really slowly here, and we'll proc on 6, and it'll be fine. Okay, there we go. But yeah, this damage is a lot worse. This damage is a lot more pedestrian, and you're like, what happened? Iceman was so good. Is it really the supports of Storm and Ancient One? Well, yes and no. It's the supports of Storm and Ancient One, and it's also the fact that my Obelisk doesn't have cold damage, because it's not a Judgment CTP, or it's not a, an obelisk with cold damage, right? Like a cold damage proc or whatever. So this is really interesting because it sort of supports this is anecdotal, right? This is not like hard proof, right? This is not irrefutable proof. But to me, it indicates that there is such a thing as elemental like diminishing returns on elemental damage. But the first, say, 100% is so important. And it does so much for the character. And actually, Beast Mode Gaming was able to clear this stage with Iceman with a Judgment CTP. And I'm not surprised. But I'm guessing, right? I'm guessing that if I give my Iceman a Judgment, he'll be able to clear this stage, but he'll actually be slower on that other stage, because now instead of having, right, going back to 45, instead of having 95% cold damage buffs, he has some on his own. I'm not counting his own buffs. He has like 40 or 50% or whatever. Instead of having 90%, he's going to have 290% when the Judgment proc activates. And I'm guessing there has to be some kind of diminishing returns beyond 250%, because it's just a really, really big number, right? 250%. It's pretty crazy. So it's very interesting to me. Iceman, I really like him. I really want to try him with a bunch of different builds, but I also wanted to showcase that he can sort of appear better or worse depending on the team up, depending on how you've built him and how the team up is affecting him. So if you built him with, like, let's say if I could change this obelisk and I could change it to be double cold damage, then he would actually probably be able to clear that null stage. So the fact that he can clear or get very close to clearing stage 50 with an obelisk is bonkers. He becomes the best free-to-play mutant in the game. And I use the word free-to-play a little bit lightly here because I know it's a lot of crystals, but compared to Storm, right? Storm's uniform is definitely paywall. You have to spend money. But he now eclipses, for sure in my mind, he eclipses Betsy. He passes. He's stronger for PvE than Emma Frost. Not that most people are using Emma Frost for PvE these days, they're using her for PvP, but yeah, I'm really, really happy with that. And the rest of the build is pretty normal, right? We've got some 5-star, 4-star, 6-star Uru. We got rank 4 type enhancement, stage 12 Powered Angry Hulk, and then no artifact and the mythic uniform with these rolls here. And he's a little bit tankier than Storm, quite a bit tankier than Storm, and way faster on his feet than Storm, which I really like. So the last thing I'm going to leave you guys here with is we're actually going to switch him over to a Judgment and see how it affects his clear time on both stages. Really good CTP of Judgment. Here we go. So this version of Iceman is definitely way easier to play. I did make a couple of mistakes which cost me about 10-15 seconds. I also made the mistake, I believe, of assuming that he had stun immunity when I believe it was on the obelisk. Yeah, so I should have double checked that before I said so earlier in the video, so I apologize for that. But yeah, so this run ends up being the same time, but again, I lost about 10-15 seconds to a couple of mistakes earlier. So yeah, it's about, I would say it's about 15 to 25 seconds faster with the Judgment, but again, that sort of supports what I'm saying about elemental damage, like diminishing returns and oversaturation, because you'd think moving from an obelisk, even though it's a 200 proc obelisk, to a 200 proc Judgment CTP with 30% attack and 18% chain hit damage, very well rolled CTP, you would think that it would bump his time up by a lot. Only bumping it up by 20-30 seconds is really not that much. Here is where I expect to see a massive improvement in his damage. Not only can we now open with 2, we should see, you know, much higher output of damage here, and we should see much easier rotations. Now, yeah, his rotations in general are a lot easier with a Judgment versus a proc, because you can always open with 2 to start things off. So yeah, I would say if you're using a Judgment CTP or a Rage CTP, I would say definitely open with 2 anyways. We sort of missed our chance to dodge the cage there, but that's okay. You want to open with 2 just because it starts you off, and it sort of will trigger the proc more easily. It's more hits. You don't have to worry about it, you know, triggering an obelisk or something like that. But yeah, you still want to instant cancel 3 and 5 into 4, and then just sit on 4. But you can now let 2... Oh, I got stunned. Jeez, that was really unlucky. Got knocked back. Yeah, we're getting pretty unlucky here. That's okay. But he's honestly not that fast. I'm a little bit disappointed at the damage here. I actually don't think that this is going to cut it for clearing Null. We got hit by both cages, so there's 10 seconds gone. But, unless his damage really, like, jumps out at me. Like, this is going to be a very close clear. It's not going to be a, an easy one. Yeah, 90 seconds is my baseline for where I want to be on these clears. We're going to have to pop the tier 3 here. Yeah, let's see. We can see if this is going to play out. But yeah, this is harder than I thought it was going to be. I'm a little bit disappointed. I definitely thought it was going to be easier. We're getting really unlucky. We're getting, like, stunned by everything. One really cool thing, although we lost our proc, like, we didn't get our proc there, is that Iceman, he'll keep doing his 4th skill even if Null disappears, which I think is really cool. We are going to die there. Nice. So we're going to lose some time here having to switch. I mean, we would have had to dodge these anyway, so we only lose about 5 seconds, but we do lose about 5 seconds. And his run already being kind of slow is a little bit concerning to me. But let's see here. You want to be far away when you start that rotation, because otherwise he removes all your buffs with that that ability he does. We dodged the stun from the snake, from the tentacles. That's good. So yeah, I'm liking his sort of, like, the weapons that he has to use against Null. I'm just not liking the damage. There, his Judgment just took forever to proc, which is super weird and not at all ice cool. His damage here is a little bit better, and you can use the first skill to dodge some attacks. You could also just do a cheeky 2 as he's winding up for the spike attack. Ooh, okay, I actually would have died there if I'd gotten frozen. So here we're just going to pop into the tier 3. Trying to push him so we don't get that stupid attack. Nice. Okay. There's like that purple attack that he does again, which I really don't like. I do like how long range Iceman's attacks can be. Just had to switch out of that. We were squeezing out a bunch of damage. So, wow, yeah, like, we're actually in a much better position now than we were before. Iceman handled the second phase of the fight really well. I'm really impressed. So, normally, what's funny is that normally characters do well in the first phase, and then they struggle in the second phase because Null moves around a lot, yada, yada, yada. And so you lose time. That's why I aim for a 90-second clear in phase 1, because that usually will compensate for a... I really didn't want him to hit me because that does so much damage. I have to be really careful here because we're actually very low on HP. But good thing is you can start your rotation very far away. So the range is actually really important for Iceman. Now we're at full health. I don't know if I want to actually fight him here, but we're going to pop the tier 3 anyways and just go into it. We're then going to pop these skills for the heal, and then we're going to pop the co-op skill for another heal. But yeah, he died. He died. Okay, so yeah, you don't want to. Yeah, very few characters can stand in that attack and actually survive. I got greedy, and yeah. I'm pretty sure he can clear stage 50. That's fine. I think this is a good lesson, so I'm going to leave this in the video. I think it's a very good lesson. Wait for Thor. If you're on a high stage, like above 30, especially above 45, just wait for Thor. If you don't have a character with a crazy heal, like a really crazy heal, just wait for Thor. It's not, unless you've tested it, because it's not worth losing your whole run for that. But yeah, so he does really well in the second phase of Null, and that's probably down to his long iframes, which stall Null and stop him from doing more attacks and getting through more of his annoying attacks that you have to stop attacking and dodge for, and his AoE. Right, his AoE means that you can still attack Null even though he's moving around, whereas other characters like Sharon Rogers, for example, Null moves too far away, her beam attacks, her whatever, her blasts get dodged, and she doesn't do any damage. So that was actually impressive. That was actually pretty impressive. It's still a tight clear, but yeah. Very cool, Iceman. Very cool. Haha. So yeah, hit me up in the comments down below. Let me know what you think of Iceman and what you think of the ongoing elemental damage cap speculation. Do you agree? Do you disagree, and why? Thanks so much for watching. Smash the like button, and I'll see you in the next one. Take care.